Hi, class. Good morning. So for today, we'll continue with our discussion of topic topic one. So last time we did organic compounds, inorganic compounds, and we also did discuss carbon, hydrogen, oxygen as part of organic compounds. Now for today, we'll be looking at nutrients, and probably a lot of you are asking, why are you wearing a hat? Well, I just want to make it believable, right? I think this presentation will be more uh, taken seriously when I'm wearing a hat. So in this case, we'll start now. Nutrients. So we have two types. So nutrients are basically what, like, if from previous knowledge, you know that nutrients are important for your body. Now, so there are elements and compounds that are needed for living and growing and reproducing. So those are what we refer to as nutrients. So you have two main types. You have the macronutrients. From the word macro means bigger, larger, um, and so these are the nutrients that you will need in bigger amounts. So that will include carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and sulfur. Yeah. That's why when you look at the packaging at the back of, let's say, a food packaging, you will see nutrition facts, and then you will see those elements, especially potassium and magnesium for sports drinks. Next one will be micronutrients. They are needed in relatively small amounts, and I've heard one doctor saying, you know what, for a certain vitamin, there's this certain vitamin that you will only need 1 teaspoon, like, in your lifetime. So like in 60 years, you will only need that much amount, right? So this will include vitamins and minerals. Okay, so optimum amounts basically is what they are thinking that will create the best results for your body, like best health condition for your body. So amount of substance that provides an organism with the best health. So too much or too little can lead to problems. Okay. I remember when I was in university, my study is about how areas that are affected by volcanic eruption, like how are the plants growing. And me and my classmates actually did that study, and then we found out that, like, pretty much the same, like the soil here, or soil in areas that are not affected by volcanic eruption, will have the same um, amount of nutrients compared to areas that are affected by volcanic eruption. The only problem is, um, in areas that are affected by volcanic eruption, I mean, it's the soil is sandy, grainy in a way, and then they don't hold water. So that's the only difference. And one interesting thing that we found out too is that when tomatoes, when they lack a certain nutrient, they are not as red as what we would expect for tomatoes to be. So pretty good. Um, so you can just pause this video if you want to read the whole thing, and I'm not going to read the whole thing for you. Um, okay, we'll move now to the next one. A farmer noticed that his crops are not growing as well as they have in the past years. So now the lower the leaves are showing a distinct yellow um, striping, and the plants are not as tall as they should be. And he has been applying large amounts of phosphorus and potassium fertilizers, expecting to get high yields from his crops. Soil tests show how low levels of magnesium and high levels of potassium. So high levels of potassium can interfere with the absorption of magnesium by the plant, and that's the reason why a certain balance between those chemicals, especially when applying fertilizer, um, we people will need to be mindful of that. Okay, so what macronutrient are the plants missing? So you go back to the list, and then just, I'm not gonna ask you to submit the answer, but for this one, but you go back to the list and try to think of the answer. Okay, what can the farmer do? Okay, now selenium is required to trace amounts, so prevents cellular damage, strengthens immune system. So too little, more susceptible to cancer, heart disease, Cushing disease, so enlarge or poor functioning of the heart, obviously. Crohn's disease is related to your digestive system. So basically, I think there's blockage in your intestines if you have that. So too much would be cellulosis, nausea and fatigue, nerve damage, and cirrhosis of the liver. Now, how organisms take in substances? Obviously, through, like for humans and animals in general, will take in through food. Now, for plants, they take in like from the roots or from the sunlight, right? Animals, they obtain their nutrients from food. Ingestion, obviously, process of taking food in our bodies. Now, digestion, you have two types of digestion. You have chemical digestion and mechanical digestion. So, chemical would be the saliva reacting with the food inside while you're chewing food, and mechanic. Oh, sorry, that's chemical also and mechanical at the same time when you're chewing your food, and then there's another chemical digestion happening the moment the food is now in the stomach. So think back, chemistry. How can you speed up a reaction, right? That's why you chew your food, right? You increase the surface area, allowing the acid in your stomach to attack it, and in order to digest it quickly. Okay. And food is broken down mechanically, mouth and teeth, chemically, stomach and small intestine, and hydrolysis, breaking down the substance using water. So chemicals released by the saliva, chemicals released by the stomach, um, um, that will result to breaking down food. Okay, nutrients are absorbed through cell membranes and into the bloodstream, and it's actually very very fast. So blood carries nutrients to other cells. That's why that's why it's hard to think when you're eating, because most of the blood flow will be around this area here, taking the nutrients and then bringing them to the different parts of the body. Now, plants obtain their nutrients from soil and air. Diffusion it's a passive process. It does not require energy. So movement of the molecules from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. So that's how it happens. So let's say, for example, if certain areas here will have more water, then it can pass through uh, the cells and supply that with water. Or if nutrients are the ones moving, then they can pass from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. Osmosis is the fusion of water across a semi permeable membrane. Okay, so like in this case, so think of an egg, right? If there's a chick inside the egg, how can it breathe? Well, somehow the white lining, the semi permeable membrane allows not bacteria, not viruses, but it will allow oxygen to go through in order for the chick to breathe. So water moves from an air. So that's a semi-permeable membrane. Water moves from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So basically, the membrane will just allow specific molecules because there are certain restrictions. Especially like look, if you will look at the illustration here, um, only the water molecules are allowed to move.